anxious do you get that they are?
There's only been a couple, I think, of our current players that actually have went in there, you know, and they did that as hosts for official visits. They were hosting a guy, and they kind of snuck in there with them. But the word's been out, and they're really excited about it. You know, another big part of it that y'all saw was the, you know, the Players Lounge is something that's really nice and a place that's comfortable, and they spend so much time in the facility that that's a place where they can relax and, you know, get away from the grind a little bit and catch a couple hours of sleep if they need to, watch a movie. I know none of them play video games anymore, but some of them would do that if they did still play video games. I don't really get all these video games, but man, that's a popular thing.
What are your biggest areas of comfort and what are your biggest areas of concern?
Yeah, I think when you look at it going in on offense, the comfort where I feel like we should be good and experienced and have guys that have shown they know how to play the game is obviously the receiving group, the tight ends, and the offensive line. You know, we're very new at quarterback, although I feel good about it because he's been here for 2 years and, you know, he's worked extremely hard at it, and I was really happy with the way Malik played in the spring game. You know, I think once we made it live tackle on Malik, that things got different, but also he made great improvement throwing the ball throughout spring. I mean, really, really good improvement throwing the football, and, you know, he's getting bigger and stronger. I think that'll continue to go. Running backs is always kind of a, you know, because we got guys coming off injury. I think it's going to be a good group, and I really like, you know, what Trey Smith did in spring and the addition of these freshmen, but it's unproven too. We lost guys that, you know, made plays there, and these guys are all new at it. And I really like what I see from this secondary group. You know, I think there's going to be great competition there at the corners and the safeties and the nickel spot, and, you know, I think they're going to have to work extremely hard to get on the field. You know, the addition of character really helps us. Rajay and TJ are looking bigger and stronger and faster. You know, D. Smith is doing a really good job of leading. Kane Pass is working harder than he's ever worked. So that it's a good chemistry in that room, and you know, they're all working hard and believe in each other. You know, Dorian coming back at linebacker and C.J. Avery doing well in spring gives you some comfort there. But I think that we got to have some guys step up and compete. Robert Hicks showed he can do it in spring. P.J. Blue obviously is a guy. And I think Yasir Abdullah is going to be a guy that plays early. He's just so fast and athletic for being fast like that. And then the D-line is just a matter of getting them all together and on the right page. We're going to be bigger and stronger there, but it is inexperienced besides Jonathan Grenard and, you know, Gigi Robinson. Even Tabarius Peterson, you know, has been here, but he hasn't really played a whole lot at that position. So it's an inexperienced group, but the competition and the size and, you know, what they're going to be able to do is something we got to get figured out quickly in camp, so we know the rotation and, you know, who's in there to rush the passer.
On defense, you spoke a lot last year about Jair, how strong he looked when he was in there, and how much of a difference it was when he wasn't. Now that he is gone, how do you go about retooling there?
Yeah, well, Jair was just such a great personality. You know, he brought everybody to a different level, and, you know, he was smart enough to know when he was encouraging people, and the chemistry helped, and when to tone it down a little bit. You know, he was just really good at that. Made everyone around him better. That's what special players do, much like Lamar did on offense. So I think it's a little bit yet to be seen. Obviously, Dorian Etheridge and Jonathan Grenard feel like they're working to take over the leadership role like that. I don't want Dorian to stress about it too much. You know, I think he needs to understand I'm going to lead by being the leading tackler, being hard to block, playing my job real well, not worrying about getting, you know, I don't want him to step out of his personality to try to be a leader like Jair was. And then in the secondary, D's providing us a lot of leadership as far as how to work hard and how to go through everything. But I do think that's something that we need to find out that's going to show up on the practice field, not just in the weight room. It's a little different right now because you're doing all this just by what's going on in the weight room.
How has Puma handled the transition so far, and what do you want to see from him these next couple of months?
Yeah, I think he's handled it great. You know, he's very dedicated. I thought he had a good winter to start with. He worked extremely hard on learning and his knowledge and watching the teams that we play against. I thought in spring ball that he was very focused, provided leadership. We got his step a little quicker. You know, he's doing things a little bit quicker, and but I kind of just sitting back watching him now is that he feels comfortable in the leadership role. You know, he's getting guys together to break when they go to the next group, or he's, you know, in the weight room calling everybody up and telling guys to pick it up when they need to pick it up. So that's been kind of fun to watch him do that. But he needs to go out and play the game the way a quarterback needs to. Be perfect in the run game, get your protection set, stand in there and compete, get hit in the chin and complete passes.
What did you like about what he did in the spring game when you went back and looked at the film?
Yeah, I liked a lot what he did, and then he had two, turnovers, which, you know, obviously we can't do in that first game. You know, I think the biggest thing for us in the first game is take care of the ball and, you know, be able to move the ball.
How different is it with that first game out? I mean, you've had big first games from when you played Kentucky or Miami in the ACC first game, but to have, you know, the defending national champ.
Yeah, you know, we got to approach it like it's no different than those games. You know, the number one thing that we've got to be able to do is work hard enough and believe in each other so that we take the field truly believing that we're going to win the game. You know, I've seen that, like when we played them when I was at Arkansas. We wanted to believe one year we were going to beat them, but when you don't believe it, truly believe it, you drop the pass that you normally caught. You know, you slip and fall. You don't throw the ball the same curl route you practiced every day in practice. All of a sudden now is short or long. You know, and then we had years where we really believed it, came out and executed and did everything right, and, you know, was right there in a position to win the game. So that's the thing we got to make sure our players understand is that, you know, we don't have to do anything extraordinary to beat them. We just have to play football the way it's supposed to be played and truly believe we can win the game. You know, correlated a little bit to the first time that we went down to Miami in the Orange Bowl. You know, that team took the field believing they were going to win the game and played aggressive and played hard the entire game.
Bobby, when you talked, what conversations did you have with Isaac and Lynn before they asked for their release? And did you get any sense for why they decided to transfer?
Oh yeah, I mean, I talk to everybody. That's one of the things that I do after spring ball is I bring everyone in, have an individual meeting for. You know, Isaac gave us everything that he had in the program, and you know, graduated, played well when he got in there. I think he wanted to find a place, you know, where he graduates and goes and has a starting role as a senior. So, you know, wished him the best, and you know, I'm hoping he finds that place that he needs to go. So.
And Lynn too, similar?
Yeah, I mean, different guys transfer for different reasons, and you know, obviously that's different than Isaac's.
Is your position on Jarvis Brent still to wait and see how the process plays out?
Yeah, you know, I mean, there are some things we're working through right now, and you know, we do have another summer school session that starts up in July, so we'll kind of see where we are then.
You mentioned your confidence in the tight end spot. What specifically about that spot gives you confidence?
Well, Kamari coming back and playing really well at the end of the year. Kamari's got one of those personalities a little bit like Jair and Lamar, where, you know, guys come to him. He's very, very well liked and can help people play better. He just needs to learn how to play faster all the time. You know, he's big and physical, but he needs to play faster through his routes, faster out of his break, faster after catching the ball to run with it. I think Mickey Crum had as good a spring as he's ever had, and you know, Mickey's a very, very capable player. He's been where he's had really good games, blocked really well, and caught the ball really well, made a lot of plays for us. He just hasn't been able to be as consistent as you would like, and that's what he's working hard on. And then Jordan had his best spring. He came back from May. He went home at May, which he was always nervous about letting guys go home at May, especially guys that have shown they like to eat a lot. and the weight can come on quickly, and then going home to see mom. But he came back in great shape, which shows me he was very dedicated. He's right at 250 pounds, where a year ago I think he came back at over 260. And he's a very, very talented guy. As run, catch, run routes, catch the ball. He just has to be consistent in understanding the schemes and not making mental mistakes.
Bobby, there's reports that there could be 3 new bowl games in 2020, making it 43 total. Do you think it's starting to get ridiculous with how many bowl games there are?
There's 3 new ones?
Potentially, yes.
Where at?
Chicago.
Chicago.
ACC, Chicago.
Yeah.
ACC, Chicago?
What they're saying.
Oh, wow.
Is it ever too many?
Pretty cool, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of just what it is, It's different than the old days, but so is everything else, We got cell phones, we get stupid text messages. I mean, everything's different. So why shouldn't the bowl games be any different? You know what I mean?
Bobby, to go back to recruiting, to have Pete's been here a couple years in that role, to have him kind of go through that, but to have Richard, to have 2 former players in that role, how big is that moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's huge for our program. Pete's shown that he does a great job. What I like about both of them is they both coached on the field. Both of them really understand the game. They have strong opinions. I think that's one of the biggest things in that role is that you're not afraid to tell the head coach, we should offer him. He's a good enough player. We need to offer him. Or no, we shouldn't offer him. I like their strong personal beliefs in that and their courage to speak up and say what they believe, no matter who's in the room. No matter what assistant coaches are in there, head coaches in there, whatever, they both believe in what they believe in. So that's great to see. Richard's going to be, awesome at it. He's very experienced. He coached for me and obviously played, but he's a true Cardinal too. He really loves the city of Louisville and loves being back here. So that's great to have.
Also on the recruiting side, I think you've talked before about this upcoming 2019 class is a lot of good local prospects in it. How have you kind of allocated your resources or stepped the focus on that?
Oh, we worked hard at it all spring, and certainly had our area coach in their school in the spring, and then their position coach got there too. So we've had a number of kids over to camp. I think one of the things that you're seeing, like the new bowl games and the new video games or whatever, is it's harder now to get juniors to summer camps. That's something that's been a little bit harder. They like to go to these showcase things where they attach stars to and things like that. So, I used to love summer camp when you would bring guys in and you'd have them for an entire week. You got to coach them in the morning, coach them in the afternoon. At night you would do some meetings, let them go to the swimming pool. I love the swimming pool as much as the practice field. Stay in the dorm, get up the next morning and do it again. I felt like you really made a difference in young guys. Now it's all about in and out. They come in for a day or half a day, and it seems more about the recruiting than the getting better. So I'm not a real fan of that, but it is what it is. So we've tried to adjust and change things up. I'm looking forward to the Friday night thing we got. We got the little kids in here today, which is fun. They're having a good time. There's 150 little guys from, it's supposed to be 1st grade through 4th grade, but there's a few younger ones than that in there. And they're having a really good time, and our coaches are having fun. Then the next 2 days are the middle school guys. So, it's good. We're working hard at that. And then our coaches will get a little vacation and then come back in July and get back at it.
Back on. I feel like you guys did picking up a new defense in the spring, and then what kind of work can you do over the summer?
Yeah, I thought they did a really nice job of it. We made some mistakes, obviously. Sometimes you learn more from a mistake than you do from doing things right. Coach Coughlin never believed in that. When I worked for him, he was like, he wanted every play perfect. But sometimes if you take it the right way, I made that mistake, and like a Gary Barnage used to tell me, I'll never make that mistake again. He's one of the funnest guys to coach because he was so driven, and And I said to him, yeah, okay, Gary, and he got mad at me. He said, no, Coach, I'm telling you, I'll never make that mistake again. I kind of laughed it off at the first time, but then I said, okay, show me. And he did. So we did make some mistakes, but I thought they did a good job of learning. I thought they did a good job of understanding what we wanted to do schematically, and then what our players allowed us to do schematically. So with the adjustment even during spring ball of, you know, hey, this is going to be good for us, this not so much right now. I thought was something I was really happy to see, and see our staff and the input, and you know, I really like, you know, what our coaches are doing defensively, so I think it'll help.
Bobby, do you and the team pay much attention to preseason rankings?
No. I mean, I don't, but I'm sure our players do. You know, they probably see everything. You know, I've always believed this, that preseason rankings are based in how you finish the season and who you got coming back. But it is, you know, if you kept track on how the preseason rankings, how things always played out, they're probably a lot different.
In-state recruiting, it seems like it's really spiking this year, next year. Do you see that just as a fluctuation, or is it a growing trend for Bluegrass State? That with in-state kids, it seems like it's really risen as far as Power 5 talent for this year, next year. Do you think it's
we
just
kind
a
of saw
fluctuation?
this, you know, 3 years ago, that this freshman class 3 years ago, they were really good, and there's a good class behind them. I think it, you know, it goes in cycles like that, but I think here in the next years we're going to have really good players in the state.
How key do you think that is to have homegrown talent?
Yeah, I like it a lot. You know, I think it's important to us. I think it helps your crowd, it helps your pride. One thing about the University of Louisville, we're always going to have players from outside our state, just because of numbers. You know, simply because of numbers, how many, you know, players there are, and you know, I think we do a good job of everybody understanding that, and everybody comes together. You know, we got a group of kids from Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, and they all melt together and become a family. So that's something that we understand is going to always happen, just because, you know, the numbers.
What's your least favorite video game your players are playing?
I don't even know the video. I honestly have never played one, so.
We won't see you on Fortnite or anything like that?
No, but I've heard that name. I had a kid yesterday tell me that he was playing Fortnite, so I said, okay, good. I'm really getting old, aren't I?
Bobby, have you been able to talk to Lamar and give him any advice about?
No, I haven't got a hold of him. You know, we've had some exchange texts back and forth a little bit and all that, but you know, that's not unusual. They're very busy. We're very busy, so we did have some guys from there reach out to us though and said he was doing a really good job.
Trayshawn Smith, is he still?
He's not full speed. He's doing some running, some change of directions. You know, he's the one I worry about the most, as far as the fact that I think he'll be ready for camp, but when he goes to camp, that's when he's going to experience the pain and the swelling and those issues that go with the rehab. It's always good to have that done prior to going to practice. Now, it didn't bother Day Williams last year any. I never seen anyone handle it like he did. It was like, really, you know. So hopefully Trayshawn can do that too. But I did see him run and change directions and do some things that I didn't know he was quite at that stage just yet. That was good to see. He looked good doing it.
All right, we're going to bring up Colby, Coach K, and Nick.